Everybody is still freaking out because the Cleveland Browns do not have a head coach. The audio courtesy there of NFL insider Jordan Schultz on YouTube, talking about where things stand with this coaching search. We are down to the final four, but actually not the final four, because the Browns have yet to comply with the Rooney Rule, which means there is a mystery candidate out there somewhere that they have either already spoken with, or if they would like to hire a head coach, they might want to get that handled, I don't know, as soon as possible. One of the guys, supposedly, that they would like to talk to, Grant Udinski, the offensive coordinator for Jacksonville. He is supposed to be visiting with them in person today. However, they have to let him leave the building, no matter what, because they have not completed the requirements of the Rooney Rule, which is 2 in-person interviews with minority candidates. And I think that is at the crux of everybody's angst right now, because Udinski is scheduled to speak with the Buffalo Bills. They have Josh Allen. We do not. Nick, good morning to you. Welcome to the fun and frivolity of what is a Browns head coaching search. I do believe this is a first for you in your career. You have never gone through a Cleveland Browns head coaching search as a professional broadcaster.
Right, that's fair. I was managing socials back when Stefanski was hired in 2020. So yeah, first of broadcasting career, not first of media career. Okay. I'd say
semantics.
And there have been plenty of those.
I was hoping you would pick up on that one. 216-474-0092. Happy to take your calls this morning. A lot to get to when it comes to this coaching search. Again, Grant Udinski is scheduled today to meet with the Browns about this opening. And look, if he cancels today, then I'm going to freak out.
Yeah.
Okay? Everybody lost their collective minds because Jesse Minter, the Chargers defensive coordinator, who interviewed with the Baltimore Ravens, I believe it was on Wednesday night, decided to stay in Baltimore and go ahead and take the Ravens job. Everybody lost their mind yesterday afternoon when Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com and The Plain Dealer reported that Minter would not be speaking with the Browns yesterday. And, oh, my God, nobody wants this job. What are we going to do? We're utterly helpless. It's got to be because of ownership. It's got to be because of Shador. It's got to be because we have no quarterback. And just whatever, I guess, excuse to freak out that everybody came up with. Again, if Udinski doesn't show up today for an interview, then I'm going to get really nervous. Until then, I'm just going to sit back, relax, have a beverage or two, and watch this thing unfold.
Like, did anybody really think that Jesse Minter was going to be named the next head coach of the Browns? Like, if they were going to hire a defensive-minded coach, they're probably going to go with the guy that's been in the facility for the last 3 seasons and the guy that they interviewed first up in this entire process. So I also thought that some of the outrage and just panic in the streets was a little unwarranted. Like, does it stink that 2 of the guys that have made it to the final round of interviews withdrew? Yeah, that stinks a little bit. Yet at the same time, usually when you have a second round of interviews, you're not bringing back 50% of the talent pool, which is what the Browns did. So when McDaniel and Minter both dropped out, like, I don't think those guys were the targets. And we heard Jordan Schultz, that audio is courtesy of Jordan Schultz on YouTube in the open, where he's saying that Udinski and Shieldhouse are the favorites anyway. Well, why would Minter waste his time when he knew that he had the Baltimore job already in hand?
Well, and the other thing, too, is like with Mike McDaniel. And again, listen, the Browns give us plenty of material to dunk on them
and to like
laugh
be
at
mad
them.
about.
Right, and to be angry about and all that. Listen, it did make me chuckle a little bit that a coordinator job was better than being a head coach here in Cleveland. But
Even that though, he also turned down Baltimore. Right. He also turned down Vegas. For whatever reason, the Browns were the ones that caught the stray from the reporting that came out prior to him accepting the job with the Chargers. But he walked away from 2 other NFL head coaching vacancies that had not been filled to that point yet, and we're still waiting on Vegas.
If you want to talk about a job that nobody wants, try the Arizona Cardinals. Nobody wants that job. Okay, and that is, by the way, 1 of 32, which is what we always say about the Browns. It's 1 of 32. Of course, somebody is going to want to take the job because, well, again, there's only 32 of these in the National Football League, and you're going to deal with whatever it is you have to deal with to get one of them. But Vegas, their search is still ongoing. The Miami Dolphins hired Jeff Hafley this week. Kevin Stefanski is getting the band back together in Atlanta because things went so well for him here in Cleveland. Offensively, I think he's basically saying it was them, not us. And I think that he might have a case for that as well. But selling that down in Atlanta is not going all that well, as I have seen some of the reaction there, not only to his hiring, but then bringing in Tommy Reese as well.
They're not too warm and fuzzy about that at all. Ooh. That feels like a strange fit. And they were tripping over themselves to hire Kevin Stefanski. The owner cooked the steaks himself. He put the sprinkles on the ice cream for dessert. It was all sweet when Kevin Stefanski was meeting with the team. But the fan base has not taken a liking to Coach Kevin, and certainly not Tommy Reese at all, based off what I've seen online.
And just wait until they get a load of his press conferences. If you think they hate him now.
Well, you think the question is going to be asked about the Baker Mayfield tweet, the Baker Mayfield post, the call out. That question is going to be asked. The fine people in Atlanta off rip from press conference number 1 are going to get a, I understand the question, Orlando. That's not my focus right now.
We just have to coach better.
You might get that before the first game.
Got to watch the film.
You might have to go into the bag of the cliches before you even touch grass for training camp.
I've been on a few radio stations down in Atlanta. I've already warned them. If you're looking for entertainment from your head coach during a press conference, Kevin is not going to be your guy.
Yes, we need to do a better job. I need to do a better job, obviously.
I'm going to keep calling plays, but I want to stress we have to get better. For us, the focus is on being better. The big focus for us is we have to be better.
I think we're 2 games into this season. We are definitely going to be playing better as a team as this season goes on, and certainly the goal is to always get better. We need to all be better. We need to coach better. We need to block better, catch better, run better, all the above. We need to be better. I understand the question. We have to play better as an offense. We have to coach better on offense.
Is that a yes then?
My focus is on making sure this offense plays better.
You know what? I need a moment. I've got a tear in my eye there. Just the memories. The memories of,
we need to put the
days of yore.
If these damn copyright laws didn't exist, we'd have Sarah McLachlan underneath.
Yeah, or like the sad music from the Titanic.
Make it feel better.
The lawyers ruin all the fun. They also keep us away from litigation. But you know what? We could probably save a lot of folks a lot of money in Atlanta just by sending them that audio. They can just they can run that through AI. They can transcribe it and just go ahead and insert their quotes into articles to come. There you go.
Oh, here you go.
We can be better. We will be better. Can Dylan play better? Yes, he can. Can we play better around him? Yes, we can. Can we coach him better? Yes, we can. That's something that we just have to be better collectively. I think there's things that we can do better around him. And
for us, the focus is on being better.
So there was always a follow-up that it's in those settings, a little behind the curtain here for you, but in those settings, it's really hard to follow up on questions, okay? And the follow-up question that I never got to ask Kevin Stefanski after one of those quotes was, you have a timeline on that? I understand. You got to be better. We all watch the game. Do you have a timeline on the whole being better thing? What is there an ETA? When can we expect that to happen? That is what I have always wanted to ask Kevin as a follow-up. Could never get to it, but, I think that maybe the fine folks in Atlanta, maybe they will get that opportunity here.
Also they teach you, as a young up-and-coming journalist to ask open-ended questions. You don't want
never answer your own question.
Right, and you don't want to set somebody up for a question where they could just give you a simple yes or no answer, because a lot of times that's a waste of a question. But I think another fair follow-up to we have to be better, all of this, is how. When you're running through your who, what, where, when, why, I land on how are you going to be better with this offensive staff, with this offensive line, with these wide receivers, with these quarterbacks. I think Kevin's whole "we have to be better" tirade oftentimes forgot about the how are we going to be better, because it was just much of the same throughout this entire calendar year for the Browns, and that's certainly disappointing to a lot of people for all the right reasons.
So flipping it back close to home, I am looking forward to figuring out what Grant Udinski's catchphrases are, what maybe Nate Shieldhouse's catchphrases are, so that we can bring you those wonderful montages and save everybody a whole lot of time when it comes to the answers to questions that we all have.
So Hugh Jackson was famous for I've got to watch the tape. He wouldn't answer anything until he watched the tape. Freddie, I feel like, just gave everybody alphabet soup every time that he walked up there. Like, it was always a mixed bag of cliches with him, from if you don't wear brown and orange, you don't matter, to whoop-de-hell. And then when things went south, he just started word vomiting every time that a microphone was in front of him.
Listen, don't forget the Pittsburgh started a t-shirt.
That's all time. That is all time. And then obviously Stefanski was "we have to be better." So yeah, there's an opening for the next Cleveland head coaching catchphrase.
But Grant Udinski again scheduled to talk to the Browns. So for the folks that are just going nuts over the fact that they don't have a coach yet, they've not fulfilled the Rooney Rule yet, that's probably the one criticism of this coaching search that I have, is that they don't know who they want, they don't know what they want, or they think they know what they want, but they're coming off as ill-prepared. The New York Giants knew they wanted John Harbaugh. They knocked out their Rooney Rule interviews, so as soon as Harbaugh was available to talk to them, they were able to quickly move forward with the hire. The Atlanta Falcons, similar with Kevin Stefanski, right? Once Harbaugh went off the board, the Falcons were prepared to hire Kevin. The Tennessee Titans, same thing. So because they're the Browns and there's just so much material that we can dunk on them for, the fact that now we're getting to guys who from day one we thought were going to be finalists for this job, Grant Udinski, Neil Shieldhouse, right? Mike McDaniel was the only other Rooney Rule candidate that we knew of, and he canceled on them. And a couple of days have gone by, and as far as I know, they've not talked to anyone. Of course, today the Browns scheduled to visit with Jacksonville Jaguars offensive coordinator Grant Udinski. I don't know, do we do the Baskin and Phelps thing and celebrate Grant Udinski Day there, Owen?
No, we don't do that on
the
show.
They were celebrating Jesse Minter Day yesterday.
And then it colossally blew up.
And then in the middle of the show, he went to the Baltimore Ravens. But I'm not sure how they wrapped that whole celebration up yesterday.
They didn't. They just kept going with they just kept going with it. They told Chris Rose, even though they were fully aware that Jesse Minter had canceled, they greeted Chris Rose onto the show by saying "Happy Jesse Minter Day" if we're still celebrating that, and then Chris Rose just ran with it too. So they never really did it remained Jesse Minter Day even though Jesse Minter canceled. So even if Grant Udinski cancels today remains Grant Udinski Day. That's the rules that have at least been set up previously.
Oddly enough, least surprising thing I have heard today. So today they're going to talk to Grant Udinski. They can't hire him, though. He can leave the building. He's supposed to go visit with the Buffalo Bills as well this weekend, although based on the forecast, I don't know how he's getting up there. maybe they're going to have to.
Well, then that's
him.
the tactic, right? You just keep him here until Sunday morning, and then he'll get snowed in.
Oh, the snow. What are they calling it? Winter Storm Fern is going to lead us to our new head coach, Daryl.
Take Bart Scott's lead, trap him in the bathroom, make him hide out in there, and then he'll never leave.
Remember the Los Angeles Clippers NBA free agency where that meme went viral of the chair in front of the door? That's what we have to do here with Grant Udinski.
DeAndre Jordan.
DeAndre Jordan. Don't let him out of the facility until Winter Storm Fern takes over. Like, could we get a late evening reservation this evening at some of the finer dining restaurants around the downtown or maybe Berea areas?
So the problem that the Browns find themselves in, maybe not so much problem, but the challenge of the current situation is the Rooney Rule and the fact that we are almost 2 weeks into this and they have yet to speak with one minority candidate in person, let alone two. Nate Shieldhouse is going to be one of those interviews next week. I actually came up with the guy that they need to speak with because Andrew Berry does not want to just go through the motions of the Rooney Rule. And let's be real about the situation. There are a lot of teams that do. Look what the Miami Dolphins did.
Look at what happened in Atlanta.
They interviewed two candidates in one day, back-to-back, and then 2 hours later named Jeff Hafley the head coach, okay?
Before Kevin was even hired in Atlanta, they were saying Tommy Reese was going to follow him there, and they had to interview the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receivers coach and some other guy, just completely wasting people's time.
And also keep in mind, too, you cannot interview someone within your own organization. These have to be external interviews that have to take place. Well, I came up with the guy. I was losing some sleep over this last night, trying to think of who the Browns could talk to where it would not just be performative. Like Mike McDaniel, even though I don't think he would get he was going to get the job, I thought he'd be an offensive coordinator candidate here, potentially, with the head coach interview. I came up with a guy. He's a former college head coach of a big program on the West Coast. He had a cup of coffee as a football executive with the Denver Broncos. He now works for the Detroit Lions as their passing game coordinator. I give you David Shaw. The Browns should talk to David Shaw. And listen, stranger things have happened. David could come in here and blow you away and you end up hiring him. But I think talking to David would be a productive conversation to have. And who knows? You might end up with an offensive coordinator. Right now, he is the passing game coordinator, which I do believe in the hierarchy of coaching tree stuff in the NFL, right? An offensive coordinator would be a promotion, so you could hire him as an offensive coordinator. So I think David Shaw would be the perfect guy for Andrew Berry to talk to, not only as a legitimate head coaching candidate, but you get to kill two birds with one stone. You also get to fulfill one of your Rooney Rule in-person interview requirements. I've come up with crazier ideas, Nick. I think this one's pretty good.
Speaking of crazy ideas, I've got one that I'm surprised not more people are talking about. And you floated this idea that there could potentially be a mystery candidate that's out there.
Yes.
And there's precedent for this, right? Like perhaps they've talked to somebody at the college football level that wouldn't want that to be announced on a social media graphic with the Cleveland Browns branding because they have to worry about transfer portal and NIL and making sure that their roster is taken care of. If the Browns head coaching search does not go their way, they got to report back to campus here in really what probably will be just a short couple of weeks to get ready for spring ball and to start their college football season up. He is a Pro Football Hall of Famer. He played for the Atlanta Falcons. He played for the San Francisco 49ers. He played for the Dallas Cowboys, Washington Redskins, Baltimore Ravens.
Absolutely not.
He has some serious close ties to this organization, not just through DNA, but through blood, and that's because his son is the starting quarterback in Deion Sanders. And that's
absolutely not.
Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, who was ever present inside of that stadium throughout the last how many weeks of this season. Everybody, the media, yourself included, Daryl, made sure to point out that Coach Prime was there and seemed quite jubilant in his conversations with Browns ownership, including Jimmy Haslam. Who's to say that there wasn't some secret meetings that took place about Coach Prime being the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns? I'm not suggesting that he's going to be. I'm just saying that
he took one for the team.
I'm not saying that he took one for the team. Didn't he have a conversation with Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys, last year about being a head coach in the National Football League once he knew that Shedeur and Travis Hunter weren't going to be on the Buffaloes that next season? And certainly Colorado had a regression year without Shedeur and Travis. So there's precedent for Prime to be entertaining NFL gigs. And he seemingly had a pretty solid relationship with Browns ownership dating back to Colorado's Pro Day Spectacular that they hosted. All of the Browns brass who took out Shedeur and Travis Hunter together to dinner. And I'm sure Prime had a presence there. There's a little bit of a relationship there, and there's precedent for this ownership group to do that. They've had secret meetings before. Remember some of the Harbaugh stuff that was out there years ago, that they were meeting with Jim Harbaugh behind the scenes while he was still in the college ranks?
Owen, it's 6:34. I'm ready for Tall Boy Friday.
You gotta wait. 3.5 hours.
I got 3.5 hours of this to go.
I mean, we can.
I just don't think it's like
buy the cans.
It's not wildly off base. This is a guy that was talking about an NFL job just this time last year. Was talking with that would have been the most high profile NFL head coaching job that you could ever have, is the Dallas Cowboys. And now you could have potentially an opportunity to coach your son with the Cleveland Browns.
There's a lot of stupid stuff said on this show by the two main guys that say stupid stuff on this show. Nick, you're jumping up there right now.
You're fitting in well.
I just don't.
If I was power ranking, I'm not going to, but if I was.
I think you should. I think you should power rank right now.
I mean,
I think you should power rank stupid stuff.
Why is it
on this
stupid?
show.
Why is it stupid? Because you've been floating the idea.
Did you watch what he's done as a head coach without the two guys that he's drug to different programs with him this season?
It didn't go well for him. And again, I'm not like pounding the table for Coach Prime to be the next head coach.
Is he going to bring Pat Shurmur back to Cleveland to be the OC?
You know, honestly,
maybe Sean Lewis did a good job.
That would be a better option.
Did a good job at Ken. I know they fell out of favor up there in Boulder a little bit, but we've been floating the idea of mystery candidate and who would it be and why would it be so kept under wrap. That'd be the one that you would want to keep under wraps, no? Because if word got out about that, people's minds would break. Like, I'm looking at what's happening to you two in this room with me right now.
It would be much more towards the Cleveland Browns than towards the Colorado Buffaloes as far as wanting to keep it under wraps, because it makes absolutely no sense. It's an asinine comment.
Yeah, he didn't mind that the Dallas Cowboys thing was out there. It was content. He got to shoot it down.
Of course.
Yeah, he didn't mind that.
Andrew Berry is still a guy who is on his last legs of running an organization, right? And you want to talk about the guy that preceded him in John Dorsey and his epic flop of a coaching search move when he brought Freddie Kitchens, and when he let Baker Mayfield pick the coach and he picked Freddie Kitchens, right? This would be the same thing. You'd be one and done. It'd be over with. Just not a great move for Andrew Berry if he wants to stay employed in the NFL for the next
All right, I'm
decade.
just saying, if we're throwing out names of mystery candidates, I don't hear anybody else. We got David Shaw. Okay,
David Shaw's a pretty good name to throw out there.
There's one.
Listen, don't you be dumping all over my David Shaw take,
No,
because
not dumping on David Shaw.
I actually put some thought into that, trying to come up with, because the Browns don't want to just do the, hey, we're checking a box here. And listen, I respect that. I do, because there's a lot of teams in the NFL that just want to check the box. So I respect their process of not wanting to just do that. But I'm here to tell you, Deion Sanders ain't going to be it. There will be no prime time in Cleveland, Ohio with Shedeur Sanders. Sorry to break it to you there, Nick. The Shermanator is not coming back to be the offensive coordinator either. 216-474-0092. What head coach, though, would excite you, right? I mean, you know, we're Googling candidates right now, trying to learn all about these guys that everyone says they know all about them, but we've never heard of them before.